Welcome to Serious About Rugby League. On the agenda today we're going to discuss whether Castleford Tigers can win a major trophy under Darryl Powell. Now, Sean's laughing here because we had a bit of a debate on what classes as a major trophy. Now, they've won the League Leaders' Shield in 2017, but they're yet to win the Super League, obviously losing that grand final to Leeds that year, and they also lost the Challenge Cup final in 2014. Now, there's no doubt in Darryl Powell's done an amazing job at Castleford. He took over there and they were never contenders, and I think in his first full season he's taken them to a top 4 finish, a Challenge Cup final, and they've slowly built on that success to 2017 when they perhaps hit their peak and absolutely dominated Super League, won the League Leaders' Shield by 10 points, but then unfortunately they lost it in the playoffs, so people were expecting them to come back the next season and perhaps dominate again, having won it so comfortably, but that didn't happen in 2018. They still managed to finish in the top 4, they still managed to get within 80 minutes of Old Trafford, but again, just fell short and were unable to get to one of the major finals. You've got to ask the question now, are the Tigers in decline, and is Darryl Powell going to be able to win a major trophy there? What do you think, Sean?
First and foremost, just to clarify, major trophy. For me, League Leaders' Shield doesn't class as a major trophy, and I think you can take that on the basis. I think it's a very important trophy to win at least once, because it just proves consistency. But the major way you look at it is the teams that have won not a lot of trophies celebrate it like it's amazing. The teams that have won a lot of trophies treat it like a dinner plate. And it's that simple. Like Wigan, for example, in 2010, when we first won the League Leaders' Shield, and it's the first trophy that Wigan had won for 8 years, there was a massive celebration in Wigan for winning that.
Yeah.
It was topped off obviously by then winning the grand final, which made it that much better. But fast forward to 2012, and there was next to no celebration for winning the same trophy. No. So it is one of those, and so we consider major trophies in my mind definitely the grand final, Challenge Cup, and even the World Cup Challenge to an extent. Cass have struggled, like you said. The grand final in 2017 was heartbreaking for a Cass fan. I sat in the Cass end, and the moans and groans you heard around the stadium. The only positive being that well at least we can look forward to the World Cup. That was sort of the mentality that Cass fans took away from that game, and it was disappointing. The following season they got dominated in the big game again in the semi-final away to Wigan, and they lost 14-0, 2 drop goals, 2 tries, but the 0 was important for Castleford, and there wasn't much spark in that team. No. And it seems like this season, and it's hard to say decline because they are in the top 5 and they're a consistent team, but it is a decline in such that they were the best team in the competition by a country mile, didn't win the major trophy, and then last season they were still one of the best 3 teams in the league by a considerable distance. Yeah. And didn't even make a major final. I just don't see it happening for the Castleford team this season, and it's hard to question Darryl Powell as the right man for the job because he's done a fantastic job for Castleford. But there comes a time where, as a team, if you aren't moving forward, then you need to move on.
Well, I think I touched on it before about the 2017 team that dominated. You think of the spine of that team, and it's Zach Hardacre, Luke Gale and Ben Roberts, and none of them are playing anymore.
No, and obviously what happened in 2017 was Zach as well. Obviously that was in the lead up to the grand final. That was crazy. But I mean, again, you think back to 2017, they should really have lost the semi-final at St Helens as well. I think St Helens were the better team on the day. I mean, we're all in agreement that the job Darryl Powell done there has been tremendous. I think they should probably have finished top 2014 as well. I think they went to Catalans to win the game. They'd have finished top and they lost, didn't they? But so they've been consistent over the years with Darryl Powell. But it's for me it's all good winning games in the league like they did again last year. They finished top, but it's when it comes to them big finals or the big playoff games where the intensity is different. I think when they went to the semi-final at the DW last year, I think they've seen a totally different Wigan side from the one that they played against in the league. I mean, Wigan were in playoff mood then. It's the same when you play Warrington, same when you play to a certain extent St Helens. Apart obviously they struggled last year in the playoffs, but it's a different mentality when you get to the playoffs. Games are refereed differently as well. Referees are let let the defending team get a lot closer to the ball. The big games, they don't like giving so many penalties. They don't like giving as many penalties to the referees. It's that kind of mentality, and it seems to be when it gets to that level, Cass just a little bit short. But if they couldn't win the grand final in 2017, as good as they were then, I struggle to see how they're going to win it this year. They've had real bad luck this year with injuries, but they had that last year as well, didn't they? And they still managed to finish well up the table. I think they'll hang on to 5th place, but as for the coach, I mean, you could never justify saying that time for Darryl Powell to go. But there's always a time in a club where players have heard enough of the coach, that particular coach. They've heard everything they've got to hear from that coach, and maybe it's time that they started hearing another voice. I don't know if that would mean they could bring somebody in underneath Darryl Powell, or I don't know it. But I think they're going to struggle to win the grand final this year. So you're saying whether win a major trophy? I agree with Sean on the League Leaders Shield. You can't have that as a major trophy. If you have a grand final, you either have a grand final, or you have the team that finishes top being the champions. You can't have a mix of the two. So that the major trophy is the grand final, and the top teams coach for that. So would they finish top if the other teams knew that? So I would say that it probably isn't going to win a major trophy now. Certainly, I don't think he will this year.
Well, I think he was linked to the Leeds job when it became available, and he responded to the media by saying, I don't want to go to Leeds, I want to win the grand final or the Challenge Cup while I'm in charge at Castleford now. He's saying that, Sean, so if he's not going to leave until he does that, how long is he going to be there?
I think that realistically for Castleford, the major trophy on availability is the Challenge Cup, and Castleford have performances in them to win the Challenge Cup. They just have to do it on the right day. Obviously they can't do it this season. I mean, the grand final's not out of their reach, but the way the playoff system works this year, finishing 5th is not going to be a good position to be in to win the grand final, because you're going to have to win 3 away games and then win the grand final. It's just not a position you want to put yourself in, and I just don't think Castleford have the right team or the right performances under the belt to be pushing for 3rd spot at this point in the season. If it a couple of weeks ago, maybe a bit different. Castleford had a bit of a better chance and they were up there and they could have pushed for 3rd. The way results have gone over the last 6 weeks or so, it's not ideal for Castleford, the way that teams have sort of overtook them, but there's still chances and it's not impossible. Darryl Powell's a great coach, and he will try his best to get the best out of this Castleford team, but I just don't see a major trophy coming the Tigers' way in the next couple of seasons. Not unless a good cup run is found.
Well, we're looking at the situation, and Castleford are unlikely to ever choose to get rid of Darryl Powell, and it sounds like he's not willing or not going to walk away anytime soon. So
and that's a dangerous situation.
Well, yeah, maybe not to that extent, 'cause I think most of the fans wanted him gone. I think most of the fans are still supporting Powell, but it's the squad now that he's got to look at, and he's talked about overhauling kind of the backs. He's looking at his back line, and you're looking at Eden, Minikin, perhaps leaving, and Chase Blair's coming and looking at other NRL players. Is it a complete squad overhaul Castleford need? Because I talked about that 2017 team, and they kind of have lost the spine. Would you not agree?
Yeah, it looks that way. It looks like they are going to a massive overhaul of the side. They probably need it. I think for Powell to go, I think you're probably more looking at a job elsewhere. Not so much. I'm not saying it'll be a bigger job elsewhere, but it's just, I mean, he might, just chuck a name out there. Obviously, Wigan might come available. You're not saying that it's a better move for him to go to Wigan from Castleford. Castleford are above Wigan in the league, but he might think, oh, it's another challenge, and I quite fancy it. You never know. There might be an assistant job come up in the NRL, and someone actually something might come up that, or England. He'd probably do that part time, but something that I think that's probably the only way that he would consider leaving would be to go somewhere else that would be in both the club and his interests. But yeah, that spine has been ripped. Obviously, we mentioned what happened with Hardacre, and I think things have gone a little bit downhill since then, haven't they? And it's not worrying. I mean, we can't get away from the fact that he's done an incredible job, and even nothing more we can say from the fact that we're talking about Castleford in decline. A club like Castleford, the size of the club, and they're in 5th, and we're talking about them being in decline. But that speaks volumes for what we think about Darren Powell and the club itself.
But despite that, there's still kind of a bit of a glum feeling around Castleford. I don't know what it is, but I think it's more of a feeling of we missed our chance.
Yeah.
Do you not feel we missed our chance while we had that team to win a grand final, to win a Challenge Cup, and now we feel like it won't be long again before we're kind of looking more towards the bottom.
When you go to Castleford, it does feel like when they welcome the big teams, even though, as you said, Wigan are below them, when they welcome Wigan, there was an intense atmosphere in Castleford. When they welcome St Helens, there's an intense atmosphere. It's like those are the games that the fans are like, this should be our level, and they bring the fans out. When they bring people like, I went to the Huddersfield game and it was very quiet. It was dull. You could hear Huddersfield fans, which obviously no disrespect to Huddersfield fans. There wasn't a lot of Huddersfield fans that turned up, only the few hundred, and you could hear Huddersfield fans. But I think that if Wigan would have come with 2,000, you'd probably heard the Castleford fans more. So if you're not going to create that sort of intensity week in, week out, then clearly the Castleford fans agree that that's the top games are the games that they should be playing in, and if they're not there, then maybe they have missed a chance.
Cas fans, how do you see it? Do you feel like the club is on a bit of a downward spiral? What do you need to do to pick it back up? Is it big changes in the squad needed, and are you slightly worried that Darryl Powell might be looking elsewhere? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments. Please like, subscribe and hit that notification bell.